timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Brady has his fifth! 13! 13! Can you believe it?
Hey guys, welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. It's Sharpy, the mystery man, joined by Ollie this week.
The man who can't press record and just spent about 10 minutes.
This is take 2 of the podcast, everyone, because Ollie doesn't hit record. This is the second time he's done this as well.
Hey, last time I did the full 50 minutes. This time was only 10, so it was lucky that I picked up on it.
And that was a good podcast too we missed out on as well.
Yeah, it was. It was best one probably by far.
And it had Sam in it. That's how good it was.
I was about to say something, but I can't say that. Anyway, as you can see, I'm probably wearing my Germany kit again because I'm starting to like it. Not the team, just the kit. Anyway, yeah, it's actually really comfortable. Surprisingly, no wonder why it's a national kit. I mean, anyway, NFL. We might not have internet next week, so NFL might be delayed for a couple of weeks. Obviously, we couldn't do it this week either because Lockie's got no internet, and I'm moving in with Lockie next week. So Sharpy might be in charge next week. I will be attending, but Sharpy might be in charge of the recording.
Yeah, just a solo Sharpy podcast. Just me yelling at the Knicks.
Yeah, well, it might not be yelling, but we'll see. We've got a few segments this episode, but we'll get into it. I've changed my mind. We're gonna go one winner and one loser. All right. So you want to give us your winner for the week, Sharpy?
I'm gonna go the Cavs. I don't think it really needs much explanation. I think they've been playing really well.
I know we've discussed it prior, but the tall lineup, if one of them gets injured, do you think, say Kevin Love coming in, do you think they can sustain the wins that they have? Obviously, it's not as bad as last year where they had 3 7-footers and that's basically their identity. This year, they're more versatile. Do you feel like if one of Mobley or Jarrett Allen go down, that Kevin Love sliding into that starting lineup can still be a winning team, whether it is 80% of their games, whether it's 60% of their games? Do you still think they can be a winning team if one of the big pieces does go down?
Yeah, I still think they can be. Even if you put Isaiah Mobley in there, I still think they can be a good team. Yep.
What if it was Donovan Mitchell though? If Donovan, like obviously Garland's gone down already, and we've seen how they've gone. They've still been successful. But if Donovan Mitchell was to go down, I personally see them still being capable of winning 50% of their games. But yeah, where do you stand on that?
I mean, you still got Darius Garland.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be a big loss for them, obviously, but I'm not going to be that worried.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on from the Cavs because even they're not the most interesting team. I feel like the Cavs, like I watched them a lot more last year, and because they had that weird wonky lineup with 3 7-footers, but now they're just basically back to normal. I don't watch a great deal of their games, but maybe I will. I'm going to have to because I just don't like watching Donovan Mitchell, even though he's playing out of his mind. That's just personal preference. Now, my winner for the week, I could go the Jazz again, but I think I went the Jazz last week. I could go the Bucks because they're 7-0, but I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to go the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, it's a bit of a surprise because this is probably going to be the only week that we're in the win. Well, in a way, we're winners, but we're losers because we're eventually going to be tanking from Wembanyama, but we're winning games right now. And I dare say you probably haven't seen any of the Thunder games, and I don't blame you. But SGA is playing he's playing MVP conversation level. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be an MVP. Obviously, he probably won't even finish top 20 in the MVP debate. But right now, the way he started, if he doesn't become an All-Star this year, I will cry. And even Poku, he's finally showing glimpses of what he can be. Obviously, he still plays a bit spastic like, but I'm just surprised we've won like 4 games. I think it's 4 games in a row now. 2 of them against the Clippers that looked horrendous. Trey Mann's step back, probably one of the nastiest step backs in the league. One of. I'm just trying to think. Who else have we got? Isaiah Joe came on and won us a game, which pissed me off. Good for him, obviously, but we need losses, and we're just winning games that we shouldn't be winning. But I have to be happy while we're winning them, because otherwise it's just going to be a depressing season. Anyway, did you have any comments you'd like to say about the Thunder before we move on to your loser for the week?
No, well, I mean, you got to remember these players are developing, and they're not going to want to have that losing mentality.
Yeah.
So, they're obviously going to be playing real hard to get,
Mm.
obviously to get game time as well. So,
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, even Jang, he's already gone down to the blue, and then he's come back. He started well, but then he tailed off. But like, I haven't seen the numbers, but I'd like to see how many different starters we've had, like starting lineups we've had since the start of the season, because it feels like nearly every game there's a change, and it feels like JRE's hitting nearly every 3. He looks like my career player from.
So that's why I put him in my fantasy.
Maybe from 3 years ago, my career player, not last year's my career player. I don't think he would.
Oh, that was ugly.
And even last game, I called it against Orlando that they would keep Paolo to under 20. Now, obviously, that's not maybe a big deal for a lot of people, but after what I've seen from Paolo, and after what you've rated him pretty highly since the beginning, and obviously I just preferred Chet because he's Chet, but
Yeah.
Paolo's had an unreal start to the season, and I think to keep him to 15 points, when we don't have like a natural big, yeah, we've got JR, and I know that Paolo's not a huge center or power forward, but I think just the way they defended him was really impressive, and obviously he came out with a dub, but I kind of expected that. Okay, we'll move off OKC now. That's my time gone. Who's your loser for the week now?
Knicks.
Before I could even finish my sentence, so I've kept up with some of the Knicks. Before you get into that, one thing I find interesting is today I didn't watch the game, but I checked, and Cam Reddish played he had 5 minutes or so up to half, 3/4 time or something, and I was very confused. I think it was 5 minutes. I could be wrong, but I was very confused at why he's not getting much game time, especially after he played unreal late last week. Where do you stand on them? What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, I'm back to what I was at the start of the season. I'm just like, nah, pack it up already. It's already season over. It's just stupid now.
Brunson's still playing good though, relatively.
Yeah,
good.
but I mean, we've gone back to it was good for the first couple of games, but now we've just gone back to the Randall take stupid shots show. And RJ Barrett back to being inconsistent now, which is shit, because Knicks fans, they hold patience with players for a long time. But then as soon as that goes, look at Frank Ntilikina. Everyone hated him. Everyone wanted Knox to become something special. Didn't pan out, and then everyone didn't like him.
Yeah.
And it's now the start that RJ's had this season. It's going to get to that point as well.
And that's the one player that you don't want it to get to that point, because he's actually capable of. He showed glimpses. Yeah, Randall put up the numbers in that year that he didn't carry his, but he just went to the playoffs. But I feel like you could always tell that it wasn't going to be sustainable. Whereas RJ, he's young, he's showing promise, he's been well scouted since high school. You don't want him to even think of not being a flop, but not being successful with the Knicks. not
No.
necessarily winning and everything, but actually playing well. Because if he starts going downhill, the Knicks, New York probably isn't the best place to do it, because then you got people like Stephen A going off their fucking chops and everyone bagging out the Knicks, and
it's more pressure on him because he didn't get traded in the Donovan Mitchell package.
yeah,
And so obviously, that's saying that,
which is the
you know,
right
he's-
decision, I feel. By the way, I'm throwing that out there.
yeah, that's fair. But it's put more pressure on him to succeed more because, he has to be hyped up more because he's potentially better than Donovan Mitchell now.
yeah.
The Knicks value him more than Donovan Mitchell. I mean,
Yeah. And it's hard when you've just brought in Brunson, who needs the ball in his hands. He can play somewhat off the ball, obviously playing with Luka for so long. But then you've got a heliocentric player in Julius Randle. Oh my God, I stuffed up his last name. Who always wants the ball in his hands. There's a difference between wanting and needing the ball. He has both. He wants the ball and needs the ball, because he can't do jack shit off the ball. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, obviously Randall's not going to get benched or anything, but I want to see more Obi. Like, even if he's lose a couple more games, obviously I couldn't care less if the Knicks really lose. I'd like to see he's in the playoffs, but if you're going to lose, you may as well lose with Randall on the bench. Oh, not on the bench, but playing less minutes. Like, that's what I personally think. You probably think a lot different because you're actually a Knicks supporter and watch most of the games. That's just me, because I like the highlights and the things that Obi can do. Obviously, he's a little inconsistent, but where do you stand on that? Do you similar view?
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And like Grimes, he's not getting any minute. Who's your other rookie?
Grimes is injured. He's been out this whole season injured.
He's played 5 minutes today then.
Did he? I didn't even know that.
And
Obviously didn't watch the game.
who's the other rookie?
Deuce McBride from last year?
Yeah, sophomore, not rookie. Like Cam Reddish, 15 minutes after absolutely tearing it up the other week.
I think it's because last game he took a bad shot.
Oh, okay.
Awful shot, and then Tibbs excuse me for that. Tibbs benched him.
Yeah.
After that, so I think that's sort of like a punishment time.
Also, I don't know. Like, what was I going to say? Now I don't know who you lost to. Like, you've obviously lost a few games in a row, but I guess in a way you gotta look at the positives in that, because you lost to the Cavs, who were one of the undefeated teams, and not undefeated, but 6-1, and you lost to the Hawks that are playing unreal.
Yeah, but there's no excuse today for the Hawks. We were up by 23 at one stage.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see. Oh my, yep, that third quarter really did kill yous.
Yep.
Ow. Yeah, okay, well that's fair then. But I guess to get up that much on the Hawks is a positive out of a lot of negatives.
I mean, you could say we kept Trae Young quiet, and there was another positive. Emmanuel quickly had 16 rebounds.
Who was guarding? Oh my fucking God, did he really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think it was quickly most of the game as well. I didn't watch, but
obviously they didn't defend DeJounte Murray much, but
no, I didn't watch. He had 6 steals as well.
Yeah.
I'll look at the Knicks fan TV.
He's going to be a sneaky for Depoy.
DeJounte.
He's always been elite defensively, but the way he started, I might have to put something on that. There's also another play. Oh yeah, I'll get to that anyway.
Yeah.
Now for my loser, there's one that I want to say, but I don't know if we're going to touch on that later. I'm just trying to think if I've got another one if I don't want to select them, because there's obviously the Sixers. I won't say the Nets because we'll touch on them. I was going to say the Nets, but we'll touch on that later. I'm going to go with the Warriors. Now, they're 3-5, and yes, they're defending champs, and it's just a bad patch. But they lost to the Hornets, they lost to the Pistons in back-to-back games that pissed me off because it were the only legs of my multi that failed. But it's looking like even when Curry's leading the team in rebounding, and even when he goes off, I think the other night he had 27, 12, and 12. He goes off, but like obviously there's a lot of media going around about Clay not being the same, and that's true, and that's fair for him not being the same. And I don't think he's ever going to get back to that ability. And I think it's ridiculous for people to think that he could ever get back to that level with age and injuries and everything. But I agree with what Chuck said in a way that it's now down to Wiggins. Now, obviously, Curry's going to play a role, but it's down to Wiggins, Poole, and Kuminga, and at some extent Wiseman. But I don't know how much time he's actually getting to prove himself. I feel like it's down to them to kind of carry them through the season, and then maybe you can get Curry and everyone to explode in the playoffs. But I guess, where do you stand on the Warriors? Because I feel like Draymond's past it. He's an overrated hype man. I say he's overrated. He is a defensive leader, and was pivotal, obviously, to their championship runs. But now, what he's done with Jordan Poole, I feel like it's probably had a huge effect on how his teammates see him. Where do you stand on the whole Warriors situation? Do you expect them to bounce back from? They're going to bounce back at some stage, but do you expect them to still maybe come out of the West, contend?
Yeah, I can still see him coming out of the West. I mean, with going back to what you said about what Chuck said, I mean that makes a good point, because they're the future of the team. They're the ones that are going to have to take the team past the Curry Clay era. So, now's a good chance to be, if you can't prove yourself now, then I mean the team's just going to be looking at other people that they can bring in, man, potentially.
Yeah. And I feel like it was a bit like, I can see where Clay was coming from with his comments, but I think with what Chuck said, Chuck did note that like he had Clay as one of the top two. He had him as the best two-way guard in the league, and that's a pretty big compliment prior to his injury. And no one expects him to get back to that level. But I feel like the way that they went, even Steph clapped back, and I just thought it was a bit interesting. But I would not be surprised if the Warriors fall out of top 3, top 4. Might be a bit of a claim. I've just got something pop up here. So yeah, that's personally what I think. Whether that's true or not, we'll see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now we'll move on to a couple of topics. We'll start off with the game today before we get into the big topics. Do you see Matt Ryan's buzzer beating 3 to go to the
I did.
overtime? Back to the play about the Lakers. What did you think? What did you think of that whole play? Because that was a great pass by Reeves, but like I said, I couldn't be more happy for Matt Ryan.
Looking like a Josh Giddey pass, really.
Yeah,
like inbound pass.
Yeah, not the NFL player Matt Ryan either. He's trash. But no,
better than Andy Dalton.
It's actually interesting to even Westbrook coming off the bench now. He looks like a different player. Obviously, he probably hates coming off the bench, but he's being efficient. I think he's led the plus minus the last 2 games they've played.
The pressure's off. I think that's what it is, really.
Yeah. And he can be himself, and he can lead the team. He doesn't have to defer to LeBron. And I think that's when Westbrook's at his best, obviously, at OKC. He controlled the team. He can control the second unit. And he might think that's degrading, but who cares? If you're Darwin,
I mean, when you look at
sorry, go on.
No, you go. You were already talking.
I was just going to say that if you're Darwin Ham, if he really thinks it's degrading, start Westbrook for 2 minutes and then bench him. And then when the bench unit comes back on, just chuck him in there. If you,
it's not really degrading. Derrick Rose comes off the bench for the Knicks, and he's an MVP.
Yeah, I guess Westbrook's probably of a different mindset because he's a little bit he seems oblivious at times to the situations. But he doesn't own up a lot of the time when he's playing terrible. Or at least
He sort of shifts
publicly.
it.
At least publicly, he doesn't own up. Whether he does in the locker room, we don't know. But I'm surprised. I didn't think it would work, but I'm happy because, like, you see things come out saying that it's going to be Westbrook's last season in the NBA, and it looks like it is, and blah blah blah. I don't. If he can keep this up and he can show that he can run a bench unit, I personally don't think it can. But another topic out of that game, Zion, huge game again, possibly, and this game was without Brandon Ingram, which is obviously a big loss, but I think he's going to be up there for most improved. Now, I know a lot of us have put money on him to win most improved, which I think is a bit. What do you think of that whole system? An injured player winning most improved, like he was a beast before he got injured, and then he comes back and he's still that guy. Do you think it's fair to still treat it like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still think it's because I mean it's got to show if he's evolved or not. Like
okay,
if he like sort of stating the obvious here for me, but if he actually has improved, or if he's declined, so that's probably why.
What do you think? The NFL have the comeback player of the year. What do you think of an award like that? Because I feel like it's a bit different in the NBA. How many like superstar players or all-star players or really good players miss a whole year and come back the next year? Obviously, we got Clay, we got Lillard missed a lot last year, and Zion. But I feel like prior year and Kawhi, obviously. Do you feel like an award like that would suit the NBA, or do you feel like too many mediocre players would probably win awards like that and it would just lose its touch?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Sorry, my mic sort of just dropped out for a second. Hang on, I'm just going to try and fix it. I think it's gone flat. Hang on.
Yeah, you sound a bit different.
Technical difficulties here.
Well, while you're solving those technical difficulties, just a quick game I want to touch on. Mavs beat the Jazz by 3 points. That just shows how good the Jazz are playing right now. Doncic, obviously, another 33-point game. I think he's got the third most consecutive in history now with 8. Oh, that doesn't sound right. I think it was, something like that anyway. Jazz just continue to impress, though. I don't know why. I don't know how. It's beyond me. The Raptors smashed the Spurs. The Sixers lost to the Wizards. I didn't know Embiid wasn't going to play. But I think, and then there was just a couple of blowouts, and I don't really think there was too many interesting games earlier on in the week. Oh, sorry, Jazz beating the Grizzlies with Ja Morant. That's pretty friggin' impressive, even though I didn't have the Grizzlies finishing that high. But have you corrected your difficulties? I don't think he's corrected his difficulties. I will continue by myself. Well, one of the big topics, I guess, is the whole. We were going to put it as a loser. I was going to put it as a loser, but I feel like it deserves its own area. Is just the whole net situation. Now, I feel like the Celtics are playing okay. I think they're 3-4 or 4-3. I feel like this is one. You got the Nets just being the Nets as an organization being losers. But then I think the Celtics are losers in the circumstances that they're letting Ime Udoka possibly go, even though he's suspended, and they don't want any compensation. We'll get two-parted here, but we'll go to the Nets. Are you back, Sharpy, by any chance? He's not back. Anyway, I'll continue. Nets fired Steve Nash. Now, Steve Nash is my favorite coach, favorite player of all time. Personally, he's not the greatest, but he's my favorite player of all time. And he's one of the most smartest minds of a point guard. He's up there with Chris Paul. I think he's personally better than Chris Paul. I'll be argued.
Hello.
Fries, hello.
All right, we're back. go.
I was just talking about how Steve Nash is better than Chris Paul. Sure, Frizy will love that one. But it's where I stand. I was just talking about how the Nets and Celtics are both losers, even though we're not covering it in that section. I feel like they needed their own separate thing. Now, you don't disagree, do you, that with the firing of Steve Nash? Because I don't, but I feel like it was an unfair situation in the first place. But before I give my full take on it, where do you stand on that the whole Nets? Obviously, Kyrie came out with, I haven't even seen the anti-Semitic stuff. I don't really want to.
I don't think we really
I don't
need
want to
touch
get
on
into.
that.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it if I haven't seen it. But obviously, it's not being received too well, and understandably so. But we'll just leave it to the basketball side of things. The treatment of Nash, I feel like, is unfair because, well, so I'll let you go first because I want to gather my thoughts on this, but see where you stand too.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's taken on because he didn't really get the players. He didn't get the player KD and Kyrie. He got the personalities instead, which was disappointing because that affected it a lot. You know, obviously the vaccination issue with Kyrie, which is obviously his decision. And then for him to not play sort of half a season because of that, then also have Harden, get rid of Harden.
And he was playing overweight and just didn't look like he cared.
And then bring in Ben Simmons, who was injured. And then just to have KD, and KD's pretty, you could say he's short-tempered sort of, and if something bad's happening, he doesn't want to be in that environment, which is understandable. And obviously with him in the trade request situation as well, that was interesting. But the team, you put that team together and and they have been playing. They've not really had a great start this year. You could say it was a bit early.
Yeah,
the firing,
but you don't want it to go too long, I guess, without.
Yeah, and for them to bring in Udoka,
which hasn't been confirmed yet,
but it's going to happen.
Highly anticipated.
And the owner or the GM yesterday saying that, when he was asked, is it true that they've already made a decision on who's going to be the coach, and he said no. And then all these reports coming out about Udoka, and then now saying that it's pretty close to be announced. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they knew what they were doing from the beginning.
Yeah, I think, I think you worded it perfectly with the whole personalities and situation. You didn't get the players, and like they showed glimpses of what they can be. I still remember that game where they returned to Philly after the trade and absolutely like smacked them out of the building, out of their own building. And like they showed what they can be. And now all this, it just feels like Kyrie is always going to have a story that's not related to basketball going on, and whether it's the earth is flat, whether it's the vaccination, and he's just always going to have a story about him. And KD, I can see why he probably wanted to get out of there, but I feel like it's a bit unfair to the organization to do that. But in saying that, now I'm tossing up whether it's a win or a loss for the Nets. Obviously, it's a win. You're getting in a coach like Ime Udoka, but I feel like it could be seen as a loss that you're bringing in a coach that's been suspended for misconduct. Now, I don't know how serious the misconduct is. It sounds like it's not too bad. It sounded like they just had a relationship from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think that just went against the team rules.
Yeah, it was a team rule breaking. It wasn't anything.
A criminal offense.
Yeah.
So,
which I think is a win, but a loss because they're bringing on someone suspended. But I think it will show that if Udoka can't do anything with them, it's going to be a problem for the Nets, and they're going to probably move on pretty quickly. But I give Simmons more time to adjust, and I think they'll be right.
I know, but thing is, though, Simmons has to adjust quickly.
Yeah, he does,
because he hasn't played basketball for 2 years. And he's sort of becoming soft.
Yeah,
now.
His back doesn't look completely fine though.
Yeah.
In saying that, Also, Celtics, I think they're a loser because you're letting him go. Like, yes, I'm not going to remember the coach's name. This currently, oh god. Anyway, yes, he started off pretty well, but Udoka did take you to the finals. Yes, you suspended him. I think the suspension itself is probably too harsh for a whole season.
Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, Joe Mazzulla, that's it. And you're going to lose a coach that took you to the finals to another possible contender in the East. I don't think that's going to go down well with the players, let alone just the organization. I think it's a big loss for them. Whether you agree or not, I'm not too sure. Where do you stand? Do you think they're losing out, or do you think that it's a fair decision by the Celtics since he did break their trust?
Yeah, I sort of feel like it's a bit unfair.
Yeah.
So,
it feels like a bit of an overreaction. And I like Brad Stevens, but I feel like he has got it wrong.
I mean, if it's the team rules, it's the team rules.
Yeah.
No one should be held differently just for who they are. If it was a rookie, second round rookie coming in breaking the team rules, he should be held to the same standard as what the coach is.
I just think it's the severity. A season is a very long time. Whether it's maybe 20 games and fined half of his salary, that seems more like a realistic punishment than a whole season. And you're expecting him not to go out and get a job at a team like the Nets. Like if the Kings came calling, I don't think he would take it, obviously. But the Nets, it's just a different situation. Anyway, that's all for the NBA. I think I've covered everything for the NBA. Anything that you want to touch on before I get on to Slug Saucy tips?
No, we all good.
Well, it's that time of the week then, and it's finally returning after a few weeks. All right, so he had a good weekend just gone at the Derby Day. So his first tip is Solcombe at I've got it the wrong way around. That's how long it's been. Flemington race for number 11 Solcombe or something like that. Anyway, his second best bet is Flemington race 8, number 7 Animo. I think anyone in the world should be backing Animo, even though I'll probably back Zaki again for the 4th time. And his each way of the day is Rosehill race 7, number 3 Jamea. That is a good horse at $12.
And also I've got race 4 at Doomben, number 4 Pocket Full. So,
well, there you go. I did not expect to hear that. That's a surprise for me. Okay. All right, Sharpie. So this is the segment we rated for. Who he play for. What we're going to do is I've got 3 players. We'll pop their image up. We'll put it in the middle of our screen, so it'll be over both sides.
you don't get to see my face.
Yeah, obviously. Thanks, Mystery Man. We've got 3 players. 3 players each, and see if it ends on a tie. It ends on a tie. We're not going to go to a tiebreaker because you haven't got
I don't
much
have a
time left.
I don't have a 4th.
And we don't have a 4th. So Sharpie, you do the honors, and would you like to go first? I've gone relatively simple.
All right, no, you go first. I'll bounce off.
All right, your first player is I'll go the easiest one. Danny Green.
Oh shit!
Danny Green, come on now.
He's not on the Sixers anymore, is he?
I don't know. Is he? Did I throw a curveball at you?
I gotta go quick as well.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like you're searching it up.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Nuggets.
Bam, bam, it's the Grizzlies.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was very surprised. So
did he get? I think him and Melton got brought over. I think that might have been the one.
Anyway, now you give me your first one.
Gorgie Dang.
He was at Minnesota and then he went to Atlanta. Did he go to Philly? No, is he still at Atlanta? Oh, maybe he got traded from Atlanta. Fuck. I'm gonna say Atlanta.
Nah, Spurs.
Oh God, that's horrible. All right, okay, we're both 0-1. We've only got 4 minutes, so I probably need OKC legend Olivier Sarr.
I saw him move. He was a good player as well. Oh,
Good G League player.
yeah, no, he was very good. Portland.
What was that? Sorry, you cut out as you said it.
Portland.
You're right. He does play for Portland. He plays for Sam's new favorite team. Oh God, I'm impressed. I'm OKC knowledge. All right, who's your second one? Hello.
Casey Okpala.
Oh my God, I've actually seen his name. Oh my God. Oh my God. Where did he? Oh, did he get traded?
I have no clue.
Have you picked a bunch of Spurs players?
No. Oh, there you go. He's on the Spurs. So here you go. You got 29 other teams to choose from.
Yeah. It's a shit team and it's in the West. Let me have a look at the tables. I'm not going to look at the team. I'm looking at the tables. Shit team in the West. Oh, I've got to be quick. Rockets, Kings, Lakers. No, he's not on the Rocket. He's not on the Lakers. Is he on the Rockets? No, he was on the Rockets. He got traded. I'm going to go Kings.
Yep. Nice work.
Has he played any? Has he played at all?
I think he played today or the other day when they played.
All right. Well, we've got a couple of minutes, so I'll go quickly. Last player, Bo Cruz's brother, Willie Hernan Gomez.
Jazz?
No. He was on the Jazz, though. He got traded
Oh, yeah.
to the Pelicans. Oh,
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did too.
I think he got
Oh,
traded from
man.
the Jazz. Yeah, he did. Or he got released from them or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, he got released. Yeah.
right.
Oh, well.
For the win.
Yeah.
Is it going to end a tie or is it going to be me winning?
Josh Jackson.
Oh, my God. Is he on the Pistons? No, that's where he got drafted. Pistons or Timberwolves? I'm going to go Timberwolves.
Celtics.
Oh my God, I was so fucking wrong. Oh my God. Oh my God. Where did he get drafted to?
He got drafted to the Pistons, I'm pretty sure.
I was right in that sense.
I think he was like pretty early in the draft as well. And then he had some. I might be thinking of
Well,
Justin Jackson.
We're going to have to continue this next week. We're going to have to come back for round 2.
If we can, we might not have internet, so
You're figuring that out. You'll be the host.
yeah, I'll do it against myself.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Sharpy.
All good.
And we'll see you next week, maybe. Bye.
Toodles.